Feed me. Feed me more. Feed me more. Feed me more. Feed me more. The Ryback Show starts now. Welcome to the Ryback Show Live. Happy Sunday, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Super Bowl Sunday, I should say. Sitting here, got my Starbucks coffee and getting ready for a big Super Bowl Sunday, big conditioning sauna day as well. Weight training session. No weight training today, just cardio sauna. A lot of cardio though today with that. Streaming live, Instagram and TikTok, the big guy Ryback22. Thank you for everybody swinging on by watching the live streams. Don't forget to swing on over to Ryback TV here, where you are the co-host of this show on YouTube. The ebb and flow of the show goes where your questions go, ladies and gentlemen. Health, fitness, supplementation, mindset, life, love, anything and everything in between, pro wrestling, whatever it is that is on your mind. You guys ask the questions. I do my best to answer them. Super chats are greatly appreciated. The big guy's Starbucks and shoulder massage relief fund on that. We are streaming live on Facebook at Ryback Reeves and also on Twitch at Ryback Rules. This show's on all podcast platforms. iTunes reviews are greatly appreciated on that. And this show is brought to you by my Feed Me More Nutrition, my premium supplement line, sweetened with stevia and monk fruit. No harmful artificial sweeteners or colors. Vegan friendly for all people, men and women, he, she, and thee. On feedmemore.com. Today, guys, we are doing a Super Bowl Sunday, a Super Bowl sale, 30% off for everyone. 30% off with discount code Super Bowl 30. Super Bowl. I live Super Bowl 30. Super Bowl 30. I had to go to speech when I was younger. I've talked about this for my R's and my S's. And you had to always practice keeping your tongue down and S's. Otherwise, super. Don't want to be talking like Y and Weaves. Super. Super Bowl 30 at checkout on feedmemore.com for that, guys. And also you get a free gift, a free bottle of our 1-2-3 Muscle Joint Tendon Support formula at $44.99 value. Yours absolutely free with that 30% discount. All the Ryback merch, guys, on there, the accessories, the drinkware, the caps, got beanies, workout accessories, gym bags, the whole shebang, on top of the best supplements on the planet. Your love and support is always, always greatly appreciated. All right, let's get into the questions here, guys. Super Bowl at 3:30 today. Looking forward to that. I'm gonna go with the Kansas City Chiefs because Phoenix Marie it's her favorite team. So I try to root for them unless they're playing like Tom Brady. And I'm going to go final score. I don't normally do this. Very good chance that I'm going to be completely wrong on this. But by chance, if I'm not, and I don't encourage anybody to take this information and place bets with this information, I am going to go the Kansas City Chiefs 38, the Philadelphia Eagles 27. 38-27 Chiefs. That's my pick to click today here on the Ryback Show. But my favorite football team, someone asked, was I'm always a Tom Brady supporter. So whatever team he's on, if he comes back, if out of this retirement, the second one, we'll see. I like Aaron Rodgers as well, so I've always rooted for the Packers. I was a big grew up an LA Rams fan when they had Jerome Bettis. My dad is a big Rams fan, but then they moved to St. Louis, and I was a big fan of them in St. Louis with Kurt Warner and Marshall Faulk. That was probably my favorite team for a good period, as well as those Steeler teams with Jerome Bettis and Ben Roethlisberger, even in Steelers with Cordell Stewart, and also prior to Roethlisberger. That's a name I haven't said in a while. Cordell Stewart. Wow. The whatever would have to look him up. I don't even know what happened. And then obviously the Patriots with Brady, and then the Bucks with Brady. But I root for good games more than anything. And like I don't dislike any teams or anything, but the Philadelphia Eagles, similar like the Jets, the Eagles. I don't dislike the teams. It's more the fan base. So that's why I don't like, if the Eagles won this, I wouldn't be upset, but that it's like I've just being back there so many times, and that negative portion of the loudmouths portion of the fans, if you want to call them that, just kind of, New York, same thing. The New York media, the New York fans, just makes me kind of like towards the New York teams in general. But it's more the area, not the actual team and the players, and I'm well aware of that. How do I feel about the XFL? We'll see what happens this go around. I think it's never a good thing that when you launch a business or a company and it doesn't work out for whatever reasons, it doesn't work out, and a period of time goes by and you relaunch it, and for whatever reasons, again, it doesn't work out. And granted, the that happened during the whole COVID thing. So, but a lot of businesses went a business with that, and it's never a good thing when you've tried to launch a business twice and it's gone under twice. And but new buyer with The Rock and his people, clearly, if they can learn from all the mistakes and the things that happened the first two go arounds, which is very possible, it could be successful. I just think, and it's I would love nothing more actually for the XFL to become massive over time, and football, year round, or to give players and more opportunities and players making more money. And if football's a sport I don't really get sick of, and if you have a little break and you go into a new league, and I think it's just a matter of that organization then getting top tier players. I don't think it's ever a good thing when you're watching when the competition is not quite the same as the NFL. And the way they are going to be able to do that would be eventually to pay players. It all comes down to money. If you could pay big name players enough money to come over, then players will jump over. And so that's going to be, but the way you got to do that is you got to have the revenue coming in to justify paying these players. And, it's going to come down to eventually if they could turn a profit and get a season under their belt and get another season under their belt. And then it's not unrealistic to think, and a big time NFL player contract comes up and they have the money to go after a big name. Like, look, this in almost like an AEW sort of situation. Like, hey, Jericho, we could pay you this amount of money, which is more than you've ever made, and come over and right. And so that is very possible to do with football, but it's more difficult in a way because there's so many teams, there's so many players, and it's going to take longer. But if you get a star player, star quarterback, just an example, say Aaron Rodgers, he just said, you know what, I'm not going to play in the NFL. I'm gonna go sign this. The XFL goes, we're going to pay you more than you've ever made. We're going to invest to come over here because other players, you're going to kill it over here. Your numbers are going to be off the charts because it's not going to be as competitive in the other areas. But it's going to help lure other names over time with that, you see. So that's where that has potential down the line if they could get this going. The problem is they've never been able to get going. And I do think COVID, I do think that really, really hurt this last go around with that. But that they were just taking such a loss, and they weren't. I don't know, but there had to have been other issues as well. There had to have been. Grim Reefer says, "Yeah, Brady to the XFL. That'd be massive, no doubt. That would be a move, but that's what should do. They should do that. Would be it won't be easy, but that's like, you're investing your money into somebody. That's the pattern that I would want, unless they're looking and they want it to be kind of like a developmental for the NFL or a place where maybe players play their remaining years. That that you're going to get that anyways. But my thing is I think you want to be you want to be competitive with talent. You could be number 2 still as long as you're getting prime players. That is where I think people, even if as good of games are, you always want to be watching the best. That's always, and not everyone's like that, but for the most part, people want to know they're watching the best. Like UFC, you want to believe you're watching the best fighters in the world. Now, is that always the case? No, because there's other organizations, and Bellator has some really good fighters, but primarily because UFC offers the big money, so the best fighters go where the most money is most of the time. Not saying 100%. So that's where that you got to have that the moolah to get to get the guys over there. I'll get to that super chat. I want to get to Grim Reaper says, I agree with your comments about Alex Riley. Fans need to support wrestlers, not rip into them. Yeah, and for the people that are unaware, and Alex Riley is someone, and I like Alex a lot. We came up through FCW, and I'd been in the system prior and released, and they got rehired, and he was down there, uh, and I saw his journey along with a lot of others, and super talented, super athletic guy. He was an FCW champion, if I'm not mistaken. He was your proto. It was a prototype WWE, prototypical WWE superstar. Had the look, the athletic ability, and in granted, didn't come from a wrestling background. Came from an athletic background, sports background, football, I believe. But picked it up, worked very hard, as everyone does in that, and trying to make it. And he came up through the NXT ranks and did the stuff with the Miz. And then he had a nice short run where he was really getting over. And I remember this because I was watching at home after I broke my ankle in Nexus and seeing the reactions and the things going on. And then talked about this, and it's none of my place to, and I wasn't. I just know because we worked each other. He was my first matches when I came back as Ryback on live events when my ankle was really messed up before I came back on TV. I did like house shows for months before I debuted on TV in the squash matches. And I hadn't wrestled in over a year and a half. And he was the one that I was paired with the first few weekends on live events. And we rode together, and I spent some time with him. And he's a really good guy. He's a really, really good guy, and he has a good heart. And he came back, and he'd been out, and he tried to come back a few years ago before the COVID stuff, or right around, and something happened. And I could tell you from firsthand experience, this guy is a superstar. He was a superstar when he was with WWE. For those of us that know, that are aware of the situation, he is up there with all time getting royally effed over. And I've given you guys clues enough over the years on it, and Cena was involved, and this guy did nothing wrong to warrant the things that happened. It was, and it to this day infuriates me, in knowing my stuff and what happened with me. And his was an entirely different situation, but resulting in getting really, really effed over, losing out on millions of dollars, in and then getting fired when he was probably led to believe that wasn't going to happen if he conducted himself a certain way or signed some certain paperwork not to talk about stuff. And but he's had, and I've talked to him, and not a lot, but years ago, and we've always get along great. And he's he's a really, really good guy. But he's had his struggles as anyone, and it's not my place to speak on everything that's gone on with him since he's been away from wrestling and whatnot. But he's been through the ringer in a way, and through multiple things. And I could tell you from my own experience of the things that happened there, but in me being who I am and being able to kind of overcome things, and seeing though what he went through, it can really, really mess you up mentally. And mentally in a lot of ways, and where you work really hard to go do something, and something that is out of your control messes up everything, and it's like you're starting over with that. And I was lucky enough to walk away and have my other stuff, and where I never really got caught up in anything, and I've kept myself, and I had my injuries I had to, like, it's a different story. But not everyone, and I made a lot more money, so I had more comfort as far as decision making and things that I could do with that. And I don't know anything about Alex or his financial status. I just know, like, it's not been smooth sailing the whole time, and like a lot of it wasn't his doing or fault and on things, but he's a great guy. As is a lot of the people in wrestling, but he's a really, really great guy, and he works really hard. And but a lot of people and people that talk trash, they don't know the whole story on things that happen. So, anyways, he comes back, and I haven't seen the match. I just saw the little clip. He comes back for the NWA for the Nuff Said pay-per-view with that. And because I saw that Alex Riley was trending, and I go, oh, I heard he was gonna. I didn't know that was tonight. And I look and I see, and then I see the clip of the dive. He like rips his shirt off, and he goes for a dive over the top rope, and it wasn't horrible by him. He didn't. He made it over, but his leg hit the top of the rope, and he crashed down hard. And EC3 was there, and I don't know if he was expecting it or not expecting it. And I didn't, because I would have thought, from what I'd seen and heard, it maybe he wasn't expecting it, but I find hard to believe that Alex would just do that off the whim. Possible though, adrenaline got the best of him, and he just said, "I'm going to go for this." I don't know, but knowing Alex, just so you know, Alex is one of the most athletic people. Was when he was in WWE. That guy would be able to just run and do the top rope straight to the top rope and hit guys with a move, no hands, no nothing, just jump right to the top with them on there. Like he's that athletic. But if you're away for a while and you're more tired out there, and we don't know the whole story, and I don't know, and I didn't see the whole match. I've heard from people that the match was fine. It wasn't horrible. Some people are saying it was the worst thing they ever saw. I don't know. I didn't see it, and I can't comment on it. But I just know I don't know the whole story with things. And he's been out, and that was his first time back in a long time. And I saw he was wearing like the sweater and the slacks, and I don't know the story behind that. I don't know with it and whatnot. If there was a story in place why he was wearing that, why wasn't he wearing trunks? Maybe he was trying something different. Maybe his luggage didn't come, and he had no choice just to wear his dress slacks, and they gave him an NWA sweater. We don't know on that, right? But we'll see on all of it. But my thing is, I see a lot of people ripping on this and that negative. We don't need to even repeat the comments. And he wasn't in horrible shape or anything. I don't think he was as in good of a shape as I've seen him in. As far as, but he wasn't by any means didn't look in bad shape at all from the small little clip that I saw on it. But he's been out for a long time, and and people, we all get older with things, and he's older than he was. But like I said, I've heard some things, and I know not everything's been easy with it. And it just sucks when I see, and this is why I put out the stuff I put on Twitter, people, if you're wrestling fans, if you don't like something, it's okay not to like something. I see stuff I don't like all the time, but this little thing goes off on me where I go, where I know that that's not going to be beneficial to anyone to say something mean, to try to hurt somebody, to try to make somebody feel bad, to make myself feel better in the moment on that. With that, and that's what these wrestling fans, you're supposed to be fans of, you're fans of wrestling and the talent. You don't have to think all the talent or the greatest thing in the world. But when I was a kid watching, I loved everyone. I respected everyone that did it, and thought, man, what a cool thing this was, watching these people on TV. I love this. I want to do this. And a lot of wrestlers are like this. It's the people outside of it. And there's great fans that are like this as well, that understand this. But there's this portion of people who I truly believe have lived a life of fear and failure, and they get they get a great sense of accomplishment, and it makes themselves feel better to say horrible things to other people. These guys were all wrestlers. We're all human. We all see this stuff and go through stuff, but everyone's on a different mental level of how well they can handle things. But we've literally had people in the wrestling business kill themselves because of people's comments online. And everyone that realizes, like, man, if you're a wrestling community, the IWC, whatever you want to call yourselves, you don't have enough common sense and decency to learn from past situations like that, and not jump on people and criticize people when you don't even know their whole story. And people that, man, the majority, pretty much anyone that's wrestling, guys, this stuff is horrible on your body. Anyone's doing this because they love it, right? The only difference between you and them is they had the work ethic, and then they didn't let the fear of failure or anything of criticism stop them from going after what they wanted. So it's like, and there's all these good fans that are supportive and loving, and the people that just know, if you don't like something, just don't talk about it, or if you want to leaves a comment about something, there's ways to do it that are just not offensive, which is a trait almost no Mark has. That's, I would say 0% of Marks have on it. And it's just be better, man. But I love Alex, and I'm happy he's back and did that. And I hope he takes more bookings. I hope he learns from his first experience back. I hope he continues to work hard, and he's only going to get better the more matches he has. And I hope he just blocks out any of the BS and any of the trash that any of the negative Marks have to say, and he just keeps getting booked and going out there. And if he can keep himself locked in, keep himself straight and clean, and go, he will get back. He'll be better than he was if he can do that. But nothing happens overnight, and I don't, from his situation and things that he's gone through, and like with his physical training, and like he needs to get himself back, and he'll be just fine with things. But I just hate seeing I hate seeing that stuff with people that I come up with that I know firsthand, and I know a little bit of the deal. It's like, come on. Super chat. Are you friends with CM Punk? Oh yeah. We talk 2-3 times a week on the phone. FaceTime. We like to see each other when we talk. I'll usually shoot down to Chicago every other month, and he shoots down to Vegas. We go bowling. We usually watch a game, whatever, hang out a little bit. Usually it's eating junk. We stick to his diet when he's around. He doesn't like to eat the healthy stuff. Yeah, and but just best of friends, man. Best of friends. We go back and watch footage of our matches, laughing at how he's worked everybody on the lies on certain things, and how we're gonna, how we're such great buds behind the scenes. We're not so much behind the scenes now. I've let the cat out of the bag, but yeah, absolutely love them. I've got another super chat I missed up here. Fboy 57, thank you. Great channel. How did you snap out of the stress and depression fighting the WWE and Vince taking something from you unjustly? I live one day at a time, and I try to just control what I can control. I know the truth at the end of the day, and I've always said this: try not to let the lies that other people have chosen to believe become my truth when I know the truth. And I just remind myself of that, and I go one day at a time. I focus on the things that I can control, and I know that I've always been protected. I know that I'm going to do absolutely unreal, amazing things in my life, and I've done some. And the best is yet to come. And I have always triumphed over setbacks. It's been multiple times in my life that this has happened. This has been the most severe one on it. And every single time, that's why I have the confidence. I have bounced back bigger, better, stronger, better in every way possible, because I mentally get better in times of physical failure, of things when get injured, certain things. And that's why I've been able to win everything. And the last piece of this is getting the social media fixed. My health is like, I am so close to being ready, and it's probably gonna time out perfect when I get that documentation with where I'm at right now, and in that. And this is how I know. And I just look, and I have enough things and little signals and things that I see where I just go, I've already come this far. The social media piece is going to be fixed, and everyone's going to see everything. I've stuck to my guns. I've stayed true to myself, and I've stayed true to you guys from day one. And it is going to allow for much more success than ever would have been possible. And I am much more in control now, having ownership over everything, and having a business, and having ways to earn money outside of just using my body. And that is truly the mindset of everything that happens is for my favor and benefit, and taking a negative and turning it into a massive positive. And that's one of the things that I try to do this show to help you guys, that whole hashtag hungry mindset, and its consistency. Being consistent in life is one of the, when I see people, they go, oh, you're always posting the same workout stuff. You're always doing this or that. I go, that is the key to success, consistency, because I know what works. And that's what people that know what works are consistent in those efforts. And it's the same thing if we're consistently failing and doing things or not achieving what we want. It's because we're consistently acting in a negative manner or not doing something in a consistent manner, right? And so That's how I've just gotten through it, man, and in finding happiness exists inside of me and not tying my happiness to certain things that are out of my control. Timmy G, Ryback Show regular here. Let me take another sip of coffee. Maybe two. I hate it when I do this show and my coffee gets cold by the end because I don't have time. I'll just go from thing to thing to thing. And all right. WWE recently made the choice to host live SmackDown and Money in the Bank in London, England. Is this a smart direction for them or even AEW to expand into having those live events overseas? I would say if they're doing it, there's definitely, yeah, there's a reason why they're doing it. And so here's the thing with them: if they're smart, and UFC does it on some of the events, but if they could get, so say you have your 12 pay-per-views a year, 10 or 12 pay-per-views a year, how many ever you have as a company, you want to make the most money possible on your show, for your event. And they have the network, they have everything. They're going to be they make money in all the different revenues through merchandise at the show, through online, through ticket sales, and then you've got the cities that bring you out for like the WrestleManias, because the city ends up profiting huge when they come there, all the businesses and things, right? And so, and I don't know the exact details of this, but say you've got your, WWE, the SummerSlam pay-per-view, the SummerSlam brand event, and you typically only held it in the United States. And you usually typically have your big markets that the handful, the how many ever, markets in like things like Alaska, places, certain states don't, it's usually the bigger cities, right? With that, and they shop around and see what is going to be financially the best option for them. Imagine now if you open that up to the world and you've got places with the money like, Abu Dhabi and Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and in places in Europe, London, and they go, no, we really, and they're going to pay 5 times the amount a place in the United States would pay for the thing. So they're going to instantly have more revenue coming in. Now the thing is the time difference, but they've done that where on the network they and UFC does it, where it's just, hey, this event is going to be at this time. It's going to be in the afternoon instead of at night with it, right? With that, and that's what they do. But they make more money overall. So I don't think it's a bad idea from a business standpoint. From a talent standpoint, I would prefer everything be in the United States because I don't want to be traveling all over the country. And I've been all over the country, and it's just, and I don't like traveling. Like, right. I'm not a big fan of the traveling aspect of things. So I want the shortest flight possible, and I want to be home as quick as possible. But it's beneficial from a business standpoint, which is why they are doing it. All right, let's see here. Big guy, I'm trying to get jacked and lose the belly. What's your take on cardio, i.e., treadmill running? How do I get the APEC? Very big on cardio, and you can't outwork a bad diet. So abs come with a clean diet, a consistent eating clean consistently, and then adding in cardiovascular activity. I've always been a bigger fan of high intensity interval training and mixing that in with long form cardio, i.e., walking, elliptical machine, things where you're on a cardio machine at a lower heart rate for a longer period of time. But burning your metabolism gets a better boost out of doing the high intensity interval training, where like blow up training, where you go as hard as you can for a short duration, and then at a lesser rate. Like I do the Stairmaster 30-second sprints, and then a minute using my hands at level 8, and then but I'm going max speed level 25 for 30 seconds, and I do rounds of 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, gone all the way up to 14 rounds on that. And then other Stairmasters that go even faster, like the one I'm going to go to today. It's the fastest machine. It's way faster than the ones that I use at my other gym. So I do 20-second sprints on it because it's like a level 30, and it's the new Stairmasters. They're way faster than the older ones, which I love because I can now even go even harder. So now, but I'll do short, I'll do like the 15, 20-second sprints on those with a minute rest on the level 8 with my hands. And I sometimes love to do that, take a break, get back onto another round because I can't do as many sets on that because I'm like everything I got to stay on that treadmill for that or the elliptic or the Stairmaster that period of time. But your heart rate is where I'm getting it gets elevated, and that keeps your metabolism elevated for longer throughout the day. So it's always good, I think, if you're physically able to do that, even if you just do a little bit and then you do long form cardio after that, it's really, 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 really beneficial. That mixed in with the sauna work a few times a week. If you can work yourself up to 20, 30 minutes in the sauna a few times a week, if you have the time, uh, very, very beneficial with a clean diet. You would have abs in I don't know what your current weight and body fat is, but you do that consistently. You will, and you stay true to yourself, you will have abs sooner than later. Unless you're like 600 pounds and we're going to be talking some years here, but you will get there eventually. Walter WW in the house. Good to see you, my man. Thank you very much. Hope you and the family are well. Ryback took your advice finally and stopped beer. Only drink once a week with red wine. Went from 243 to 219 in a month. Thank you. Should have started sooner. Man, Walter, I love to hear it. That is good job. And that is you will even find if you're able to finally do this. And I'm on I've gone this is week 3 now, plus this Friday was 3 weeks that I've done no red wine because I'm tightening up and getting my body even like getting things because I would do 2 bottles most of the time with a lot of water, but doing 2 bottles of wine is like doing 11 shots. And that's where I just go, man, 11 shots is a lot. Like I would never do 11 shots. But if you do 2 bottles of wine and you mix it with a gallon of water, it does it, and you drink it over a 4-hour period, but you're still consuming that alcohol. And I do that fast, and I wanted to get more results out of my fast and not have my body be hindered by alcohol for a period of half the day or whatever it is. How long that stays in your system and affects your metabolism. But you should try to see like now I'll tell you, like I haven't been like tempted like, I don't, because I've seen better results. I go, I'm not really too tempted to do my red wine Fridays, even though I still love them. I go, maybe eventually, but maybe just stick to a bottle or something with it. But you'll see it's good mental toughness though, when you can get a period of like 1 or 2 things, and you got to get yourself to that point, right? Because you went from doing that to just doing once a week. So eventually, or you wean yourself, I'm just gonna do half a bottle tonight, or I'm just gonna go 1 week and not do it, and then I'll do it the following week. It gives you that confidence so that you could do it and keep yourself occupied. And it's crazy how over a period of time goes by, and then that habit kind of just falls off where it's like, I don't really care to do it. But when we do it consistently, it's like you look forward to it, but you also kind of it's an addiction, and everyone's level of addiction is different to where you like feel like you have to do it because that's what you do, right? And so, but that's how but you're seeing though, when you make changes, change happens with things, and it's a very important thing in life to have that in your head, and that when you apply and you do the work and you alter some stuff up, you set yourself up to make positive changes in life. And I think I'm happy for you, man, because you're just going to keep learning and keep applying this stuff as you go on. And it's okay to it's cool, like too. Hey, if you have a drink at night eventually, and you whatever, it's like just get back on track. And that's the key. That's what people that are like successful or do things, they just get back on track. They're better at getting on track than people that fall off and can't. You know what I mean? And it's because we're all human. We're all going to have moments of this and that, and but that's a big, big key I've seen, and from what I've learned and seen throughout my life. Logan, you're welcome. Yeah, that was definitely my ring gear. The only thing was that armband, and I'm sure that was mine because I signed stuff for people. I only gave away, I don't know if I did 3 or 4 singlets total, and signed them. And I think I did a pair of boots, and like the armbands and gloves and at different points. And I think it were only a couple different people. They paid a lot of money for those things, though. So I was not saying no. I was like, okay, you want to buy something for thousands of dollars? Sure. I've got a whole cupboard full of them. Yeah, I've got 3 other pairs of shark skin boots, which now I'm not even proud of having shark skin boots after being plant based. And like, but I paid all this money for these stagecoach boots, but the boots are they'll last forever. Like I've got them up there. I was looking at all my wrestling stuff the other day, kind of just like I was like, do I need to get new laces? Because time goes by, years, and like you don't use something, go to pull your laces and they rip apart, which I'm pretty sure is what happened to Batista. His or his zipper. I saw the documentary on his when he came back, and he was in that Rumble. Me and him had the deal in the Rumble, the little deal. He I didn't realize like his boots broke, and they had to like sew his boots up. Oh, talk about stress! My God, with the whole day of like the pressure of everything coming back and winning it. That's like nightmare level right there. Oh my God, my boot. I think it was. I'm pretty sure it was zip up or something because I don't think if they would have been someone would have had shoelaces there, something for him to borrow, boot laces if it was a lace. So imagine a zipper, like just insane. Sweet sugar in the house. Hi, what was the best part about creating your character, choosing your theme song, choosing your attire, or choosing your move set? So that was again the character stuff. Just that was talked about how that all came into fruition and incorporating and my personality into that was the truest form of me in my wrestling career. Was the closest thing. It was me in my mindset. So that was a huge relief of finally being able to put that into what I was going to be. Um, but like the theme song, I had no say in. That was the theme song was all done by them. But I instantly felt it, and like I'm very big on having a great theme song. And so I think that I was just that would I'd like to think I attracted that to a degree because like in my head I just always if it was not good I would have they would have given me like Eric Rowan's theme song that he used when he was a babyface for a short period. I would have been in Kevin Dunn's truck. I would have been in Vince's office right away, just like, guys, I need to be able to feel it. I would have asked for something different. But I heard this and then they redid it into the meat on the table one. And I'll never forget they Hunter and them where they called me over and Hunter, they go, we beefed up your theme song, the initial one I had for the first few things, which was essentially that was in part because it was getting over really quickly. And so it's now it was because a lot of talents, they'll just leave you with the theme song. So I was always grateful for that they invested into a better quality song. And because it gave a lot more legitimacy to the whole thing. And but I had no say on that essentially as far as picking it. It just happened to be the perfect one. And Hunter and them had me come over. They played it for me at the ring. And I go, yeah, that works. Yeah, I have no problems with that. I could do with this, um, with that. So, but they did ask though on it, so it just was happened to be. I thought it was fell in love with it instantly. Choosing your attire was always fun. That was something I had control over outside of when Vince wanted the singlet, but getting the singlets airbrushed. Um, I had a big say. It was my design. It was my idea, and then the artist would make it come to life. That was always fun, coming up with different things. So I really enjoyed that, and uh, it's something. It's a canvas to come up with it, and it's very good for action figures. And they made a lot of action figures in a short period that I'm very grateful for with that. So I'm a big coming up with the attire and the ideas for the singlet. I really enjoyed or choosing your move set. That was always fun. It always keeps your brain working. But I'm going to say the thing I enjoyed the most was picking the attire. That was the one I had, and obviously the move set was fun, and that came pretty easily. But the attire, I get to use a little bit of my creativity and have ideas come to life on those singlets. So great question, Sugaroo, sweet Sugaroo. Appreciate everyone on TikTok and IG once again. Please swing over to Ryback TV on YouTube. Turn those notifications on. Hit that subscribe. Let's see here. Trying to see Evolution and Shield. Remember when, Evolution versus the Shield and Batista came out in all blue? Blue Tista trended that night. I remember that. That's what it was like. One of those things. Times had changed, and like prior to like really social media, like that wouldn't have really been. It would have. It was. And I thought it looked cool. I like. And it's actually not a bad thing at all. I'm sure there were some people, but like it's in this day and age of social media, you just never know what's gonna get people to what they're gonna talk about, what's gonna take off trending. But that's actually, I think doing stuff like that's actually pretty smart, and to do it on purpose. Can you imagine, like, if you're a talent and like, or like, say I just came out in all just bright pink everything, and like, but it was a badass design, but everything was pink, and I normally not do that, so like people would be, that would trend on social media, and that's just giving you an example. But like if talents do something with their attire that is kind of off the rails, but it doesn't have really, they just do it. And very good chance they can get another action figure out of it, and very good chance that they're going to trend. And if you're trending, more people are paying attention to whatever you're doing that night. So if you're trending because of what you wear, then you go out there and kill it also and have an amazing match. Now you're going to be trending for two different things, just like you increase your chances of trending. And that's how, kind of just thinking that, like, what can you do? What kind of mannerism can you do that might, when Nia Jax, and whether she did it on purpose or not, but when she hit her ass on the apron and goes, my hole, remember that took off, like, that's, Logan Paul with the camera on Roman Reigns with that hadn't been done on the dive on this right through the table. Like, that's anything that you could do. That's how my approach too, going out and now, and like how social media, knowing what I know about it. Okay, what are we doing? What am I going to do? What can I do in my match? Maybe that I could get if I have a camera shot on me, that's something organic in the match that's going to happen, that I can increase my chances of getting noticed by and going trending. What can I wear? What can I do? How, just things like that. On top of going out there and giving everything, and telling that story of whatever that story is and that matches for the particular day or night. It's I don't know. I just think that there's so many ways to trend now with it, switching up the ring gear, the colors, just and it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing on that. I just saw a name on here. I didn't see it was up. Jason Maples. Jason Maples, if I'm not mistaken, was down at FCW. He was a friend of, he knew the Rotundas, Wyndham, I believe. Taylor too, I think, but Wyndham, I don't know if he played football with him. He was the nicest guy in the world. You tell him I said hello. But that name is very familiar, and that is what I remember. Yeah, Blutista got a figure. So yeah, there you go. There's that's, and I know because they made a lot whenever I'd switch things up and switch your colors, switch this. I also think it's a good idea to, they'll also have, I think you don't want to. Here's what I would do, and because I don't want to come out with new stuff all the time. I want it, because then I just think it gets lost. It's not appreciated as much. But if you just come up, like, I would wear I would get a new singlet every pay-per-view. Every pay-per-view, I think I had a new singlet with that. And so I would be getting one or two of them done in advance, or you know what I mean, at the next following month. And I had a little good system in place. I'd get all these colored singlets done, so I'd have a plethora of them. I'd have them sent to my airbrush artist, so they already had them. And then I would get the idea and then send them images and let her do her magic. And then I'd get it shipped back, and then I'd have it, and then I'd get the elbow pads and knee pads. I had ordered all the different colors online. I remember I ordered everything from High Spots. I go, just send me all your colors. They sent me boxes. Still have so many brand new packages of Trace elbow pads and knee pads for all the different colors on there that I keep. And then you could sync it with the weight belt and do a new. And then when I came out with the weight belt, it was a new weight belt and singlet for the pay-per-views on that, and then wear old attire that I'd had that had decent airbrushing still, because that stuff would come off over time and have to get them redone. And when they got too faded. And then I would like wear my older ones on live events. So if you ever came to live events and I had like a really faded singlet, it's because that was the airbrush on them. And I'd try to have the best airbrushing that I had on my singlets, but I'd have to get those done, and they get some redone for live events eventually, so the live event ones wouldn't look too bad. And I had a little system with that, but you're doing like 5 shows a week, 3 live events a week. So, and then I'd have to bring multiple singlets because you don't want to like be stinking. And then I would have like a TV singlet that were my previous pay-per-view singlets, and then do the new ones for the pay-per-views, because and then you stand out and it increases the odds of getting a new figure. But like if you do that I'm going to have a new singlet every show, I just think that's too far on it. And I don't think it's worth then you're now spending, it's an extra expense that you're not going to, that adds odds. Whereas if you do it, space it out, it's a profit with all the things that you're doing, that investment because that stuff adds up doing that, getting gear made. And there's people that have much more elaborate, expensive gear with the robes and things, where you don't want to be having to constantly, do that stuff. But I don't think it's a bad idea to have established colors like, Hogan, the red and yellow, and on pay-per-views, you bust out a different, so you wear similar stuff all month on the TVs, and your identity is known as that. And then you do a pay-per-view color something. I think that formula always will work. Yeah, Seth Rollins is taking it to a new level with a new suit each week. Yeah, I know that's a great comment on that. He is doing that with the suit on all that. But I tell you, it really, and it's he's featured every week on there, and he's in the suit. But I tell you, that's a lot of maybe it's paying off, but I don't know how much he's paying on the suits unless he has like a sweet deal where he's getting a mass amount of suits made dirt cheap with it, which could be very possible, but it's, I don't know on that. I always think it's of a consistent look, but the gimmick though is being outlandish and ridiculous, where like I see the doing that every week, but if I was doing that, I would look at more of like the accessories. I would keep like I wouldn't have the focus on the suit, so that I wasn't spending it. I would have it on accessories, and things, but he's doing it on the shoes and the suit. But it's so out there, it works with it. And he's making, in that inner circle of top tier money, booked on everything, where it's paying off on that end. So I don't know how many figures he's getting out of all of it, how many they're going to just do with all, because they typically would just do I don't know. I don't know. I would imagine it's still good. So, but that is a good point on someone that is doing it every week. We talk about Cody. I actually have a clip on the podcast on the Cody Rhodes Roman main event WrestleMania thing here on the channel. Check that out. It's in a short condensed clip for you, and you'll get my exact thoughts. You guys always can go back and watch past content on here. We cover a lot, but that's why I try to do the clips for the wrestling or for whatever the clip is on, to give you guys, also people that can't watch the whole show or listen to the whole show, you can watch those clips of still. Sweet Sugar Sugaroo back again. Big Daddy V had one of the best themes in WWE. If you were in the ring and you hear "Calling All Cars" start to play, you better run. LOL. Miss him. Oh man, Big Daddy V. That guy, I always told you when I was a kid, I was scared of Yokozuna and Mabel. Mabel because he was even taller with that. And he was large, man. Like Mabel would have been, that would have been too. And I know I'm strong enough, but the body types and weight, like Yoko, because Yoko too, and he was talented. I think I could have shell shocked Yoko and Mabel with that, but they're so large, their bodies, and like how, and I tell you too, and with the body fat people, you don't. Here's another thing, because I know this because I picked up some people with higher body fat, and when the body fat and you go to pick it up, it sinks into you, so you're exerting energy, but you're not really. They're not going up yet. You're sinking into their body. Does that make sense? And then it hits you. Then so you're exerting it, but then you get hit like with like almost like a sticking point, because then you're hit with all the force of the weight, because you're not hit with the whole impact of the weight initially, because it's like this sinking in feeling on that. And so that they had high body fat, so that's where that would be more difficult, as opposed to someone where you got a firm locked in weight and their body's hard and they're tense. You're going right up with it. But when the body fat is higher, but I still believe, because with how strong I am, that I would be able to do it. And maybe that's me being really optimistic, but I really, what a sight that would have been. Those guys, but I love Big Daddy V and those guys. Mabel. Someone says, I see people with huge bodies but no muscles. Their bodies look like fat, like Big Show and Mark Henry. How did their body become like this? So one, uh, you're talking about two older people now, but it depends. Big Show, both were very muscular at different points. But what happens is typically, though, people injuries and nerve damage in wrestling, and it destroys your body. And a lot of surgeries, and Big Show's had his hips replaced, and uh, he's had other surgeries, and but nerve damage in wrestling, and I had this out, is very real, because most of the guys end up with pretty bad back damage, and typically with back damage comes nerve damage, which then comes like atrophy. Like, you look at Kurt Angle, and he had the atrophy in his arms from the neck injury and things, and that gets worse as you get older. And so oftentimes too, with the wrestlers, their bodies, after all the wear and tear, and they get older, your body just as you get older, it's harder to recover, and your body's so broken down, and then that damage just kind of increases and it amplifies with that, and they're not able to train. And I know this for me, when I wasn't able to train as hard, I still went every day, and I found ways to keep pushing myself. But when you're not able to lift the amount of weight that you were able to lift when you're younger, or different things, that accumulates. That's how you build muscle and strength, right? With that, and that plays a factor with a lot of people with injuries, and they can't train the same way that they used to train, that I think a lot of people just don't think about. And I'm blessed that I've got to experience this and get it all back, and go back to like, man, I really take care of myself, and don't let that happen if I can control it. And it's because we only, health is wealth. And but you also, though, you got to understand they are large, and you're saying that, but their bodies and are better than the majority of people still in the world. What I hate is, I think so many people are, and this happened, like a lot of people in other countries, the people like that worship like the bodybuilders, like I don't, like in India and Saudi Arabia, like it's an obsessive, like they're small people, they're obsessed with the crazy steroid bodybuilders. I think so many people don't understand how many people are abusing drugs, and that they have no real concept of like how bodies should look. They like, and those guys, if you ever look at them, they end up looking worse than most people when they're done, because their bodies shrivel up to what they were before, which when they did that and got their bodies so unnaturally, but it ruins people's perception of what I think being in shape and being healthy is, and being strong with it is, in a very unrealistic way. But it's like, and I see it all the time with people. I've had people try to tell me that not in person. In person, it's, oh my God, you're massive. Oh my God, you're bigger than I thought. That online, though, you'll get people that be like, oh, you're fat, you're out of shape. Oh, you're not what you used to be, with this and that. And it's always the people, they don't have a profile picture, or they're super tiny. And it's like, well, what are you talking about with that? But it's just and like but you're being that very offensive comment to people. on that, like with on that. How do they the big bodies, fat bodies, and no muscles? Like they have way more muscle mass than your average human being by a lot with it. Uh, I always was a big fan of Vader. His son Jesse is awesome. 55 to 60, you start falling apart. LOL. There's plenty of people though that stay together far past that and go. I've seen photos of people, and I again though I don't know if they're just on TRT, HRT, or doing cycles, but I've seen older people in the 80s and 90s look incredibly good and very functional and moving, which is always going to go. That's the route that I want to go, where you're just healthy and like, you're not a burden on people. Obviously, different situations and health things can change that very quickly, right? Which is why every day of good health we have is a blessing. Because I've seen our lives can drastically change out of our controls, in so it's just and that's something my mood has increased since my shoulders gotten better. Ever my back is better, but my shoulders just doing so much better, and I'm not in constant pain. And like it's just like I'm like this is a it's just crazy how it's so connected to how you emotionally feel and or like your anger levels and things when your body's just not like in this constant state of pain. And I've noticed that especially the last like few months, just more and more and more and more as we continue to get this thing freed up. But it's all how what you put into taking care of yourself and the quality of foods and different things. Yeah, I don't think I've ever given the Mount Rushmore of wrestling, and I don't think I don't intend to. I don't. I think that could change daily. I'm just appreciative. I have nothing but love and respect for everybody that's come before me in pro wrestling that allowed me to watch them and to learn and to grow and to become a performer and be blessed to do it and to be able to reach people and have a positive influence on people's lives. And I would hope, because I would like hopefully young people that come into the business to be grateful and respectful of the people that came in before them as well. And I think it's too, that's why I always try to talk in a positive light of whatever I'm seeing on TV and stuff, for the people that are doing it, because they're the ones that are putting in the work and doing it. And there's always things that you can agree with or not agree with. And that's why I always say people can do things however they want. I just know how I will do things my way, because that's all that I can control. And not trying to get everybody to understand like, hey, you have to do it just this way or whatever. And I've just learned it's not worth the energy. And you never know what somebody's idea is on something and whatnot. But I just think being respectful and in the understanding, I think everyone's contributed to wrestling in some way, shape, or form, and everyone's idea of a Mount Rushmore is different, and there's no right or wrong. I don't think that Mount Rushmore, because the Mount Rushmore, the anybody who you pick on there for your choices was built upon all the people that made them. They're the ones that actually sculpted it out. Those guys didn't sculpt it out. It's everybody. And so like this, and that I just look at things. It takes it's a group effort. It's a team effort for everything. And so that can change daily. That's like I was saying for me on whatever my mindset is and how I'm thinking of the business that day and what qualities I think. And so Jake Paul versus Tommy Fury, who you got? I don't know, man. I'm curious just to see if the damn fight goes down. I'll tell you though, I'll never buy any of those pay-per-views again. I bought one of them. I think I might have bought the Logan Paul Floyd one, and I go okay. And I think I got one other one of the I think I bought one of the, was it a Jake Paul one? I might have got one or two of the Jake Paul ones. And then after whatever one it was, I think it was after the was it after the Woodley, the one I just said, I'm done ordering these. I I have no problem with either one of them. I'll tell you, I'll tell you why I hope Tommy wins though, because I feel like his family and the pressure from Tyson Fury. I I don't think there's any issues if he lost in boxing with the other who they perceived as maybe regular boxers, even though Jake Paul is a regular boxer, but he has the stigma of just being a YouTube boxer. I don't know. I hope I hope for a good fight, but I would hope for Tommy that he wins because I feel like there's a lot of pressure on him internally, and I would hate to see and not you have no control over that, but um, and I don't think Jake. That's why I hope it's a great fight. But Jake comes out of it like where he held his own against a real boxer, quote unquote real boxer, who's had more fights, right? And that Tommy though gets maybe a decisive victory towards the end. Something I don't know, but I wouldn't be upset either one. I have no issues with Jake Paul. I think it's great that he hustles and him and his brother and doing great things and living their lives, and they get people to talk about them. So if I could pick a wrestler, dead or alive, one versus one, who would it be? Well, I'll tell you, I think you could. And again, this is taking away there's two people that passed away that I would have loved to work with, and because I got to train with I told you Benoit in Deep South Wrestling, and this isn't taking into account anything that of the deal, just straight from a wrestling standpoint. I would have I would have loved to have wrestled Eddie Guerrero and Chris Benoit in a singles program each. As much as I would have loved to have been with them on live events and because I feel like that, and I got to train with Benoit when I was in Deep South Wrestling for a couple days, and I learned a lot. It passed. I talked about the intensity, and I learned really quickly because I've always been intense, but I felt a whole different level of intensity because he believed so strongly, and that is what I took from that. It wasn't the moves that we did. It wasn't that he gave me 50 arm drags in a row because I had a bruised tailbone and Bill DeMott was trying to punish me a little bit, and it's fine. But it was the intensity of every move that he did, the no matter how he trained, that was he in the it was he believed, and then that when you step in between those ropes, you have to believe, and that is why I credit this a lot to my ability to believe because I literally felt this in training really early on in my development, and it sank in with that. And even though there were other things that I had to learn and that took years to everything to click together, I took that as a core memory and kind of that that's the passing that I would have gotten working with him a program, but I know there would have been even other things. And obviously Eddie Guerrero would have been another one on that. I think from today alive, I would have loved and I wish Kurt Angle in prime Kurt Angle and me. I would like me coming back. You know what I mean? Feeling now that I feel like I'm going to be in my prime coming back because I feel better than I ever did when I ever wrestled because of all the injuries that kind of never had a chance to heal. Um, and that would have been one alive. There's obviously I think Brock, Undertaker would have been other ones. I tell you, Hunter would have been another one prior. And there was a time that I thought that we did stuff on TV with the Authority where it looked like they were going to tease a Triple H Ryback match, and I don't know. Nothing was ever told to me that was going to be the direction, but it seemed like we were building tensions towards that. And then Hunter came up to me at TV and just said, he goes, just to let you know, he goes, I don't know. He used to read dirt sheets. I did this before I ever he goes, they're saying that we're supposed to work a program. And I said, I literally clueless. I go, are we? I don't, no one said anything to me. And he goes, no, I think that's what's being said online. And I go, I literally just, I go, oh, I don't know. And he goes, he goes, anyways, I just wanted to let you know. He goes, I'm not wrestling. I have no intentions of wrestling. And like Vince knows this. And so I go, oh, okay. I go, I didn't know we were going to anyways. And like, that was it with it. But I would have liked to have, if we could have, that would have been a good learning experience also in there. And because I've always believed, and I believe that you, when you get to wrestle established stars, and you people then see you in the ring with an established star, and you either beat them or you hold your own against them. That's what getting the rub from them it can do. And when you do that with enough TV stars, and then and the other good part from a talent standpoint on that is these guys have been in the ring with all the greats and all the past, the people, the generation before, and that's how things kind of get instilled and carried on in pro wrestling, different things, and you make it your own, but you keep alive the little tricks or the things that they did or they do, and you just get that. And that's what I've been blessed with the guys that I have. I've gotten enough of that and really learned and put it into the memory bank, and forever we'll keep that. And that, but that's how, you don't necessarily get that working with people that don't have that. They're new. You're all coming together up in the same era, so it's always different, styles, people, different process of putting together a match, different ideas for spots, different psychology. And then you listen, you go, I never looked at it like that. And then you all of a sudden now have a different way of viewing, putting together things for matches and things like that. And that's where it's really, from a talent standpoint, and yeah, it's always cool to the people that you grew up watching and whatnot, but that's like the inner workings of like how stuff kind of gets carried on and moves on, right? And it's like, Bray, and he's like this generation's, what people say, like, version. He's not the Undertaker, but he's like that. He's this generation's idea of that, essentially, right? Of this supernatural type character or abilities at times in an entirely different way. And he's been in the ring with him and had that. And then that's why they did it again the other night. They did it years ago at Mania. And then they did the segment with him and Taker. And that's the rub of people to acknowledging that carries on, and it ups Bray's stock in that, the star power. And that's why you do those moments with that and do that. Those would be my answers for off the top of my head right now. Super chat, Predminator. Hey, big guy. Hey, big guy. Were you impressed when Kane deadlift body slam Great Khali at WrestleMania 23? And do you think you could have done the same? Thanks. So I have to go off to YouTube that and look and see. Off the top of my head, I can't remember. But if he deadlift slammed Great Khali, yeah, that's beyond impressive. Kane is one of the strongest guys, and he comes from like had a powerlifting background or had a powerlifting style of training early on, if I'm not mistaken, from what I remember. And he had to alter his training as he got older. And I would see him at the gym, and he would be doing his warm up on the bike, and he had his weight routine, and he didn't powerlift. But I remember he used to make comments if we were at a gym and he maybe saw some of this stuff, and he would he might say something, oh, I used to be able to do that, or I used to, like, it'd be, funny, like, kind of, or something. And but he's beat up, and you alter your style and you train lighter as you get older. And I've learned the importance of that for longevity. And you don't always have to, you just don't always have to max out, or you don't always have to go balls to the wall as far as there's staying good and feeling healthy and staying good, is like I said, wealth is health. Health is wealth on that end. But he's one of the strongest, just well-built guys in all of the history of pro wrestling, for being as tall as he was and proportionate as he was. He's one of those guys. He's disciplined. He's consistent. He's, even if he's not in his best shape, he's still in shape. And he always, no matter what. So I again, and just a great human being, and was nothing but great to me from beginning to end of my time there. He do I think, to answer, do I think I could have done it? Yes, I do. I've deadlifted guys off the ground in different weights, and Khali, that would have been he's just scooping under. I have to see what it is, the exact, if I'm thinking of it correctly on it. But I will watch it, and then if we get back on this on the next show, I'll have to just to make sure it is what I think it is. and let you know if I think I could do it or not. But he's a legit strong dude. I told you guys, my right hand, I think it was this finger right here, not my middle finger, this finger, and it's all normal now. But my joint, me and Kane, it was. You can watch the match if you want to see. You won't. You might see me like do something and look at it during the match. Me and Kane, it was when I came back after the groin tear thing. I was out that short period and came back to that authority angle, where what team I was going to go on for Survivor Series. Me and Kane had a main event match on SmackDown, I believe, in the UK, which would have been, was that 2015 or 4? Was that it might have been the end of 2014, if I'm not mistaken, on a SmackDown in the UK. So it would have been whenever that European tour was, the second half of the year, leading into Survivor Series. Ryback Ryback Kane maybe on YouTube, SmackDown main event UK, maybe it'll come up, I bet. Something happened and our hands hit, and my finger hit something on his hand at such a force, and it took my finger and just broke it at the joint. And I'd never broken a finger, had anything happen. I do hand grips and do hand things, and I was in shock that something happened, and it was on the force and hitting him, and it was like both our hands were moving. I was coming up and his hand was going down. It was like, and it might have been like on a punch and coming back, something, and his other hand was coming up and my hand was coming down. That might have been what it was. And as it hit my finger, it snapped my finger completely the other direction. So my fingers just boom. And I literally look, I go, oh, my finger just broke. And we had the whole match to do still. And we do the whole match as if nothing else happened on it. But like, that's like stuff. And I had to go, like, they had to break my finger back into place and pop it into place. And then they brace it. And then I had to go see a doctor on my day off when I got home. And they had to brace it up. So I had to brace it and tape it and wrestle. Didn't miss any time. These are like the little things. Like, it was like, because that doesn't cause, I remember I talked to, I think I messaged Hunter after it happened, and or something happened, or he messaged and said it was something happened. I was in the airport and it was, are you okay? And I broke my finger, and I could just go, I'll be fine. I won't miss any time. And that was it. But like Brady just broke his hand. He's probably wrestling. That's just what you do. You just keep going. And because it was something that they could tape it, you could kind of work around it, and they could brace it up enough where you just kind of, maybe you don't do a few things you would normally do, but it's painful for a bit. And then it just finally gets better. And it's then you tape it up heavy for a few weeks after you get the brace off, and you keep going with it. But yeah. That happened. It was, I just go, Kane, it was such a force, just such a large human being, two forces hitting. And it unfortunately was like his hand hit my one finger and just destroyed it. SmackDown, June. No, I don't, Walter. I don't think it was, no, because it was leading into Survivor Series. It was 2014 because it was when I came back babyface after the heel run with Ryback. Sugar, I missed a super chat. Let me see. Where did I miss? There it is. I found it. Kyler. Whoever made Rob Van Dam singlets did one hell of a job. His singlets always had really cool designs on them. HBK had awesome attire as well. Yep. And that guy did the first beginning. His name was Joe Holland. And Rob got me in touch with him when I asked Rob if it was all right if he had an issue, because he wasn't in WWE. It hadn't been. And so I looked at it. I always loved his gear on it. And I didn't want to do the same. Like, I didn't do the same designs because we had different personalities, right, on it. But it was he was so cool. That's why I will forever. He's just such a good guy. But I'm respectful of that. Like, I think it's important. A lot of people just take stuff and like, oh, they're not here, I'm just going to steal this or that. And that's why I think it's important to have respect for like the people that come before, because had he said like, if he would have told me like, look, I plan on coming back and or this and that, and I would appreciate it if maybe you stayed away from the airbrush. I 1000% would have I would have had it done by I would have got it different. I would have had something done, not airbrushed on it. I would have had stuff stitched on or whatever, and went an entirely different route, because I just think it's important to do that with people, because the idea wasn't my idea. It came from what he had done and came before, right? And I'm sure he got the idea from something. Maybe it was from someone else, but I just think that that's such an important thing to have. It's like doing a move. If somebody, is this and they leave, and you want to do their move, I think it's important, and they have intentions of coming back, or you think they're going to come back, or you should probably ask, unless it's being directed for you to do it from the company or something. And even then, you probably should still just shoot a thing, like, even if you don't know them, like, hey, here's the deal. What are your thoughts? I just think it's an important thing. But that guy, he did really good work. I'm doing very well, thank you. This is kind of an interesting question. Is it a nightmare to have heat with a veteran, especially like someone like The Undertaker? I would think in this day and age, where there's so many the veterans not necessarily around, but I think with that, in that comes, it depends on what your level at in the company. If you're brand new, absolutely, and you don't have a lot of stroke or say, and that depends on the situation, on what it is exactly, what happened. But if you're dealing with somebody that's massively loved and loved by a lot of people, and you have heat with them in whatever way, they can, and they are vocal about it, or they do something, and they could really have an impact on you or someone. And politically, backstage, they have a lot of influence. And that's where pro wrestling, if it's not in the contract and you just sign an open-end contract, things can go from great to not so great really quickly from a creative standpoint on that. And you see it all the time. And a lot of the time, it's just them, there's so many crazy, ridiculous things. Some are more warranted than others, and some are definitely warranted. But it's like, it's politics involved in everything. But pro wrestling, you're dealing with acting gigs. It's not like you're dealing with a starting spot that's yours and that you've earned and is backed up by your work. That your efforts in a game, that the structure of that game, go out and just play the best of your ability. Where in pro wrestling, the story and the creative is determined prior, and can be maneuvered and can be outlined any which way, good or bad. Right? Roman Reigns could be booked to be jobbed out tomorrow. They could put Roman Reigns, make him go out there in a dress, lipstick in a dress, and prance around and get beat in 30 seconds. It's just acting. There's nothing holding that back from that, stopping that, other than like him saying, "I'm not going to do that," or "I quit." But like, they have that power, if it's not in your contract, to do whatever they want. You're going to go out and wearing a banana costume, and you're gonna get thrown up on, and we're going to let people. We're going to have plants, and we're going to throw stuff at you, and you're going to get jobbed out in 15 seconds. That's in the script for the day. You sign that contract, and you don't have the power to get out of it. You can't talk your way out of it. You got to go do it if you're a professional with it on that end, right? And if you don't have a reason to get out of it, and so that's what the stuff that can have an impact in a lot of ways with it. But I agree. Booker T did look good at the Rumble. He's another guy that always, despite him being completely off on anything involving me, and also another one, just completely, the fact that he worked with me for years again. And these guys, they don't pick up the call; they do a video on lies and different things, and that to me is just never forget. But personal feelings aside on things, he's always been in shape. He's always worked hard, clearly, and he's a guy that's always kept himself together well, and he still has remained, I would say, agile and kept his youthfulness as he's aging very well. Super chat, Grim Reefer. Thank you, buddy. When you worked in WWE, did you carpool? And who did you like to pair with? Any funny stories? I talked about this. I wrote early on with Cody, Daniel Bryan, Cesaro would be in there. And obviously, I learned pretty quickly. And I think before, when I was doing live events, I can't remember. I rode with Alex Riley or he rode with me. I had a car for a bit. And then I rode with other people, I think, for a bit. And then then Cody, Daniel Bryan, Cesaro. And then I realized, I love all those guys. I didn't like getting up in the morning and having to wait for other people to go to the gym because we're all sharing a car and wait for everybody to meet at a certain time. And, I want to eat at the place that I want to eat. I don't want to have to stop at multiple places for people. I don't want to have to get to the gym late. I wanted time to stretch because my health. I used to stretch during that night because my back and everything already was bad from the surgery and the things going on in my shoulder. So I would get to the gym and I like to have 3 hours of gym time. Nobody else wanted to go to the gym for 3 hours. And so I realized, for me to be my best week after week, I need to have peace of mind being away because we're all together all the time from at the shows and at TVs. So I need my alone time. And I need my time to think, listen to business books and audiobooks and learning and financial advice and stock markets, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, positivity books, whatever it is. Just constantly using that 3 to 5 hours every night of driving as learning time to maximize the money that I was making into more money. And I loved riding with people though. And during Nexus, we rode together, the Nexus guys. But I like to be able to have my freedom on it, and it's not if somebody's late and you get to your gym, your workout, they only want to go to the gym for 60 minutes, and somebody's late meeting in the lobby because they overslept or something happened, and then now your workout time is cut short. Now your whole day is affected with that, and like for me, I'm not afraid to say it. I do a lot more than most people on it, and overall and on all areas. And there's a reason I look and am who I am, and it takes a lot of work. And I've been like that since I was a kid. Other people don't have that in them, and it doesn't mean they don't work hard and do things, but there's levels to this. And so it was just I'm going to ride alone, and that was it. It was not. I was always in a good mood to be around everyone because I had my alone time, and I love eating alone. I like being around people too. But I love peace of mind. I love just being able to think. I love being in control of the situation. Other people are around. They could be negative. They could be complaining. I just like to be happy. I like to just be at peace. And I've learned, and I love having control as much as I could have control in life. When I have control, I'm pretty happy in that. So I like everything I've seen with Austin Theory. He's very talented, and he could speak, and I think he's done a fantastic job of everything that they've asked of him thus far. Hello, hello. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you. Yes, the Ryback show we are on. We typically, the schedule right now is going to try to I'm doing Sunday today. Monday tomorrow will be a new feeding time. We got a new Papa John's Valentine's heart-shaped pizza coming tomorrow with some cheese sticks and some double chocolate brownie dessert for the feeding time tomorrow, 9 a.m. Pacific time. That will go the premiere. And then we'll do Ryback shows probably Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, or Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday. So there'll be usually hopefully 3-4 shows a week on top of all the clips in the feeding time video So please always check back regularly on here. We always have content. On top, I do the shorts I use for the entertainment and to plug the supplements. And then the stories I'll put in there occasionally on different things and whatnot. So there's a wide array of content and information and entertainment on here on Ryback TV with that. Guys, with that here, we're going to go ahead and wrap up. I've got to finish a few things, and then I hope everyone, though, enjoys the Super Bowl. Happy Super Bowl Sunday once again. Don't miss out on our Feed Me More Nutrition 30% off sale. Save 30%. Discount code Super Bowl 30, Super Bowl 30 at checkout on feedmemore.com to save 30% there and get the free supplement, the 1-2-3 Muscle Joint Tendon. Just hit that free gift when it pops up on there. The Big Guy Male Performance Formula. Hopefully, I'll find out this week. I'm hoping it's done and shipped out. I'll let you know on one of the shows upcoming this week on the final status of that, getting back into inventory. Everything else is in stock and ready to go, though, on there. So thank you guys very, very much. Enjoy the Super Bowl, guys. Until next time, stay hungry. Feed me more.
Hey, Rybackers, don't forget to hit that like button, smash that subscribe, and shell shock those notifications for the best supplements on the planet with Feed Me More Nutrition and all the latest cool new Ryback merch. Visit feedmemore.com.